This video is about how to afford a house in today's market. And so it used to be 100,000 was a pretty nice house, but now today it seems like 2, 3, 400,000 is still in the entry level housing market. I'm going to talk about how much income you need, your monthly payment, and how much down you need. I want to specify that these down payments, 20% of 100,000 is 20,000. So I'm adding 3,000 for closing costs. I think that's pretty typical. I've got that all the way down. But we also are, these payments are based on 1% property tax, which is probable here in Kentucky. If you live in an expensive state like New York, your property tax will be more, and you'll need to be making more money to afford the same amount of house. So what I'm trying to say, it's $100,000 house should be fairly affordable. 31K is well below the national average in America. We're trying to be 20%, 28% of your after-tax income. So this is after-tax income. To afford the $100,000 house, you'd want at least 31K after tax. To afford a $200,000 house, you would want 57K to be your after-tax income. To afford a $300,000 house, 82K. And for a $400,000 house, 108K as your after-tax income. So tax rates go up as you go up, so that might be more like 140. Pretty unreachable for most young Americans. Here are your monthly payments. Even the $300,000 house is below our national average of rent. But you do have maintenance costs, which can be really minor, like just painting something, or it can be major, like a new roof. All of that comes together to make it harder to afford than your actual rent payment. One of the hardest parts of buying a house is actually the down payment, because saving up $23,000 when you're paying rent and probably have a car payment too, it's quite difficult. Or 43, 50, 63, 83, whatever your market is. Typically in our country, the places where you earn more money, you also pay more for your house. So I definitely recommend a starter home, something below median home price. So like here in Kentucky, we're about 223 or 224 is the median home price. But there's a few houses below 200, couple in the 100 to 120, $150,000 range. If you can be in that range, you got a lot more flexibility. It's still hard to even save up to 23,000. I'm going to get some flack for this, but I think one of the ways you can actually accomplish the down payment better is to start a 401k, get your company match if your company offers that, and then borrow from your 401k some of your down payment if you're very comfortable and stable at your job. If you think your job might fire you, then I do not recommend this, because you have a quick payback time, or you have to pay it back within 60 days, I think, of when you get fired or quit your job. So that's an idea, especially if you're getting a company match. That might be the fastest way to save up a down payment. And it's kind of your money, but kind of all sorts of tax loopholes and problems if you get fired. It'll probably mess up your retirement if you get fired or laid off, because then you have to take the whole thing out, pay off the debt, and pay the taxes, which are really high if you're under 55 and you have to pull out your retirement. So you won't have much of anything left. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is you really want to save up some money, and just telling your employer to save back 3-4% of your income, get the company match, might be a way to go. And then you can save up, and these numbers are hard. The other thing I want to talk about is interest rate. Right now we're at 662 is the national average, the most recent data I was able to find. We also have 1% property tax. $1,500 insurance. If you're really good at negotiating your insurance, you might be able to get a little cheaper. If you live in a more expensive state, the property tax will be a lot more. But if interest rates are likely to go down in the next few months, that's what the people are telling us in the news. And if you can get even at 5%, these numbers became way more reasonable for most people. I want to talk about why I do 20% down. In America, if you don't have 20% down, you have to pay what's called PMI, private mortgage insurance. And this is quite problematic for most people. It increases your payment by maybe 0.75% of your home value per year. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Usually comes out to probably 10% higher payment. So your $720 would go to, if you had nothing down, let's just say you had a bank that would give you nothing down loan, your payment would go up 20% because you didn't put 20% down, and it would also go up 10% because of the PMI. So this $720 would suddenly be close to $1,000 if you had a nothing down loan, and that's a lot harder for somebody to afford. Mostly in this market, I think we're looking at houses in the $200,000 range. So without the down payment, that's going to be almost $2,000 a month just for your payment, your monthly payment, if you don't have a down payment. So I hope that I'm telling you something helpful. It is possible. Definitely want you to save so you actually have a down payment. I recommend having some cash and some in your retirement. If you're trying the retirement, borrowing money from your retirement to pay down your debt or pay as a down payment for your house. I don't think you want to do that for 100% of your down payment. 50 is probably max. But all that to say, I'm really trying to tell you, if you can find a house in the lower end, a starter home in a quiet town that's further away from expensive places, or whatever, maybe a fixer-upper. If you can get down in the 100,000 range, especially if your income is higher than this, and so you actually have some flexibility to fix it up, save, pay off your down payment faster, all of that makes it so it's much more affordable. If you're in the 300,000-400,000 range, then it's just really difficult to pay this on a normal income. Tell me what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.